Chisom's beauty was the talk of the town and beyond. Men came from distant lands to catch a glimpse of her radiant smile and flawless dark skin that shined like polished ebony. Her eyes were as deep as the midnight sky, and her laughter, when it came, was like the soft melody of a town flute. Chisom's beauty became her identity. From the moment she turned 20, suitors lined up at her father's compound with gifts and promises. Rich traders, chiefs, and even a local politician sought her hand in marriage. But Chisom remained confused. One evening, after a long day of working at her father's mini hardware store, Chisom sat under the udala tree near her house. There, Mama Ifeoma, the elderly woman who was known for her wisdom, called her over. "My daughter," Mama Ifeoma began, "beauty is like morning dew, it does not last forever. Riches come and go. Marry a man with a good heart, one who is hardworking and who dreams beyond the present." "Mama," Chisom said, "who is such a man in this town? All I see are men obsessed with what I look like." Mama Ifeoma replied, "Look beyond their words. There is Nkem, the carpenter's son. He is poor, yes, but he is a man who knows the value of work. A tree that grows in fertile soil will one day bear sweet fruits." Chisom thought about Nkem. He was quiet, humble, and diligent. His rough hands spoke of labor, and his eyes carried the weight of unspoken dreams. He had no fine clothes or money, but his character was solid like the Iroko tree. A few months later, Chisom made a surprising decision. She turned down all the wealthy suitors and married Nkem. The town was in shock. "Why would a beauty like her choose a poor man?" they whispered. But Chisom ignored them. Deep within her, she believed Nkem would one day become wealthy. After all, he was hardworking. Success, she thought, was inevitable. The first few years of their marriage were sweet. Nkem loved Chisom deeply and showed it in every way. He worked tirelessly as a carpenter, making chairs and tables for the people in the town. But no matter how hard he worked, he remained poor. His friend Obina once asked,
"Nkem, why don't you invest in getting better tools or training more apprentices?"
Nkem replied,
I can't. Every kobo I make goes into taking care of Chisom. I can't let her feel she made a mistake marrying me."
Indeed, Nkem spent lavishly to please his wife. He bought her new Ankara pieces when he should have saved for better tools. He took her to town festivals, giving her expensive gifts, while his workshop fell apart. Chisom, too, noticed this. "Nkem," she said one night, "we need to plan for the future. All these little pleasures mean nothing if we remain poor."
"Don't worry, my love.
Nkem said.
I will work harder."
However, working harder without working smarter did not yield results. Year after year, poverty hung over them like a stubborn cloud. Chisom began to feel the weight of her disappointment. Her dreams of wealth and comfort slowly withered. One evening, Chisom sat alone, thinking about her life. A voice interrupted her thoughts.
"Good evening, beautiful Chisom."
She turned and saw Emeka, a wealthy palm oil merchant who once sought her hand in marriage. He stood there with a confident smile. "Good evening, Emeka," she said.
"You know,"
Emeka said, sitting closer,
"you were supposed to be mine. Look at you now, wasting your beauty with a man who can barely feed you."
Chisom wanted to walk away, but his words pierced through her like a spear. The resentment she had buried for years began to surface.
"You deserve better,"
Emeka continued.
Why suffer when you can have comfort? Come on, let me give you the life you deserve.
That night, Chisom could not sleep. Nkem lay beside her, snoring softly. She looked at his face. Love was there, but love could not buy food or clothes. Love could not give her the life she had dreamed of. The next week, Chisom began to see Emeka. At first, it was just conversations at a local eatery. Then, she accepted small gifts. Soon, they began meeting in secret. The thrill of sneaking around added to her excitement. But guilt is a heavy burden. One evening, Chisom snapped at Nkem over a minor issue.
You can't even fix a broken chair properly.
Nkem's eyes widened in shock.
Chisom, why are you speaking to me like this?
Because I'm tired. Tired of this poverty. Tired of hoping and waiting. I should have married someone else.
Chisom said. Nkem said nothing. He simply walked out into the night. Under the same Udola tree where they once spoke of dreams, he wept. The affair continued. But soon, the town began to whisper. Mama Ifioma heard the rumors and confronted Chisom. My daughter, she said, a river that forgets its source will run dry. Be careful. But Chisom was too deep in her frustration to listen. Eventually, Nkem found out. One afternoon, he saw Chisom and Emeka together, dining at the local eatery. His heart shattered. That night, when Chisom returned home, she found Nkem sitting outside.
I saw you.
He said simply. Chisom froze.
Why, Chisom?
Tears filled her eyes, but she said nothing. From that night, their home became a cold place. They lived like strangers. Nkem no longer tried to please her, and Chisom no longer pretended to care. Years passed, and they were both seated. Nkem looked at Chisom with tired eyes.
Chisom, we lost ourselves chasing what we did not need.
They sat together in silence, two souls weighed down by the heavy price of misplaced dreams. The town of Umuokoro learned from their story. They learned that love withers without wisdom and patience, and that dreams crumble like dry leaves in the harmattan wind when built on fleeting desires.